That's on Sabbath. No spitting on Sabbath. The Pharisees had another law that you couldn't have a pin in your clothes on the Sabbath, because if you did, you were carrying a burden. So I suppose I got a burden here on my wrist, carrying a watch. The Jews had another law that if a chicken laid an egg on the Sabbath, you couldn't eat the egg because the chicken had to work to lay the egg, and somehow if you ate the egg laid on the Sabbath, you were entering in with the chicken in the work of laying the egg. So eggs laid on Sabbath, you couldn't eat those. Modern Jews, when they come to an elevator, a lift, they won't push the button. That's work. They'll call a Gentile to come and push the button for them. It's okay for him, but not for me. And then I heard a recent law I thought was just completely absurd. The Pharisees have added a new law that you can no longer pick your nose on the Sabbath. Because they say that's work. Well, you can imagine when Jesus was here on earth, did Jesus follow those 1,500 Jewish traditions that they had added to the Sabbath? No. And so as a result, the Jews accused Jesus of breaking the Sabbath. Did he break the Sabbath? No. Jesus said it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath. Jesus healed people on the Sabbath, which was not work. You wouldn't find him working in the carpenter shop. What does it mean to do well on the Sabbath? Well, perhaps I could illustrate this way. Let's imagine I'm driving to church somewhere on Sabbath, Saturday, and it's a wet, rainy day like it just was, and the roads are wet, and as I'm driving along, I see that someone has spun out, and they've slipped off, they've gone off the road, and there they are down in the ditch, the car is upside down in the mud. And I think, well, today is a Sabbath, and I got my suit on, and if I get out, I'll get all muddy, and if I pull off the road, off the tarmac, I might get stuck in the mud. Huh? No, I get out there, I get all dirty, I sweat, but I succeed in rescuing the person trapped in the car. Have I broken the Sabbath? No. But suppose in the afternoon, I'm thinking Sabbath afternoon, you know, my boots got all dirty and my suit is all muddy. I think I'll wash my boots and I'll wash my suit and I'll wash my car this afternoon. Am I keeping the Sabbath now? So you can see the difference. It's lawful to do well on the Sabbath. What should we not do? Well, turn with me to Nehemiah. Nehemiah 13. We'll read verses 15 through 17. If you're taking notes, you can put down 15 through 22. We won't read all of that, but you can put it in your notes. Nehemiah 13. Can you find Nehemiah? Well, if you have a gadget, it's easy. You just look for Nehemiah. If you have a Bible, I remember one time I said, I had a translator, I said, let's turn to Nehemiah. My translator turned to me. He said, where's that? It's in the Bible. Nehemiah 13. Starting with verse 15. It says, in those days, Nehemiah says, in those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. So they were selling these things. Verse 16, there dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that you do, and profane the Sabbath day? What were they doing? Well, it's just like business as usual. They were buying and selling. They were working in their gardens, harvesting their crops, their normal work. And Nehemiah says, you're breaking the Sabbath. So those things that we do normally during the week for our secular occupation, we put those things away for the Sabbath. The Sabbath is supposed to be a day of rest. I like to think of the Sabbath sort of like a date with God. I don't know you ladies, do you go on a date? You ever been invited for a date? We learn that a date is only special if you love the one you're dating. What did you do on your date? I know some ladies are thinking, I'm not going to tell you. But I think I know what things you did not do on your date, ladies. Did you do the laundry on your date? When the date came, did you do laundry? No. Did you cook the meal when the date came? Huh? No. Did you clean house when the date came? Clean your room? No. All those things you did ahead of time because this special guy was coming and you wanted to make an impression. So, you got everything done ahead of time. The food was prepared. The room was cleaned. The laundry was done and put away because you want to make an impression on this guy. If we would do that for a man, shouldn't we do the same for God? So here's what we do on the preparation day. What day is the preparation day? Friday. What my wife and I do, we prepare for Sabbath on Friday. Sometimes we start a little early. We'll start even on Thursday, but usually Friday is enough. And we clean the house. Since it's just my wife and I, the children have grown and gone, so we get to do it together, my wife and I. She does a lot more of it than I do, but I'm usually chipping in and helping some. And so when the house gets cleaned, my wife always prepares special food for Sabbath. Incidentally, are you supposed to prepare food before the Sabbath? What does the Bible say? Well, for example, let's go back to Exodus chapter 16, verse 23. Exodus 16, verse 23. Here it says, He said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Who said this? The Lord said this. Bake that which you will bake today, because tomorrow is the Sabbath. Bake that which you will bake today. Well, if tomorrow is the Sabbath, what day is this here? This would be Friday. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe or cook that which you will cook, and that which remaineth over lay up by you to be kept until the morning. So they were to do the preparation for the Sabbath the day before. That's why my wife, she always prepares something special on Friday that we have on Sabbath we don't get during the week. And I often tell ladies, if you want to make Sabbath special for your unbelieving husband or boyfriend, you just start fixing special food on Sabbath. He's going to start looking forward to Sabbath even though he might not be keeping it. So my wife, she prepares something special. We had our special breakfast and our special lunch already today. So when the sun goes down on Friday evening, everything is done. House is clean, food is already prepared for Sabbath, shoes get polished. At home, the car gets washed. That's my job. Everything's done. So when the Sabbath comes, when does the Sabbath begin? At sundown Friday. So when the sun sets, it's so nice to sit down in a clean house. Everything's clean, everything's put away, everything's ready for the Sabbath. And if I'm not preaching somewhere, sometimes I am on Friday night, then my wife and I, we sing together. Sometimes the family, my father will come, my mother will have time together Friday evening. And then Sabbath morning we get up, we have our special breakfast, and then we go to church. What did Jesus do on the Sabbath? He went to the synagogue. You can read that in Luke 4, verse 16. So that's what he did. That's what we do. We go to church, and that takes up most of the day. And we have our special lunch usually, unless we are eating with someone. And then in the evening, Sabbath evening, we again get together with family and friends. We sing songs together. We end the Sabbath. The whole day is a celebration, a time with God. I've had some people say, well, Pastor, if you preach on Sabbath, isn't that work? Well, Jesus taught people on Sabbath. I believe that's Luke 4, verse 31. So since he did it, he's our example. we can assume that preaching on Sabbath is not considered work. Now, I'm not preaching some secular thing. I'm preaching from the Bible. And that's not violating or breaking the Sabbath. Let me read one more text with you from the middle of the Bible, the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 52 is a promise. 52, did I say 58 rather? Isaiah 58 verses 13 and 14. God says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. God is essentially saying, if you'll keep the Sabbath, I will bless you abundantly for doing that. And my wife and I can testify over the years since we've been married. We were Sabbath keepers when we got married. We've been keeping the Sabbath for the last 34 happy years together. And if we're not involved in some program on Sabbath afternoon, then we usually go out for a walk in nature. Nature is God's second book. This is the first book, the Bible. But the second book is the book of nature. So if there's no function in the afternoon, you can go out into nature with your Bible and enjoy time with God. We always enjoy coming up here onto the campus of McCary because it's so quiet here compared to the rest of Kampala. Well, if you have more questions about the Sabbath, we will take time to answer those later. Yes? I'm not getting you. Okay, the question about doctors and nurses, which is a common question. Here's what we tell those in the medical field. It's okay to minister to the sick on Sabbath. Jesus did it. But what we advise medical people, if you're a nurse or a doctor, anything you earn on Sabbath needs to go to God, needs to go to the church. So then there is no incentive for me to schedule myself on weekends. Some people deliberately schedule themselves on weekends because they get more pay on weekends. So that becomes a personal profit. And so to take away any incentive from that, we tell people if you're in the medical profession, you're helping people, that's okay on the Sabbath, but anything you earn from that needs to go to God. So there's no incentive to otherwise. Someone has asked, this began. Well, there was nothing phenomenal that happened on earth. What happened where in 1844? Up in heaven. What happened in heaven in 1844? The judgment began in heaven. Now, certainly there were a number of things taking place, significant things taking place on earth. But as far as some great phenomena taking place, there was no great phenomena. We know that but as far as on earth, the focus of what happened in 1844 was what happened in heaven. One more question, and then we are out of time. I have more questions here, but why is it that some people say that Jesus Christ? Why would anybody say that's the Antichrist? Well, I think you'll see why this coming Tuesday when we identify the Antichrist. The Antichrist came up with this idea that the he in Daniel 9:27 is not Jesus Christ, but Antichrist. That idea came from the Antichrist. So you'll see that when we study about the Antichrist this week. Is there a choir tonight before we start our quiz? Okay, I'll call the choir up here and then we will do the quiz after that.
way is rough, others full of toil, yet they won't lose the way. Had they been astray, whatever the cost, I must strive to meet my fame. For that life is short, all the strife soon will end. If I just overcome, He has made me a home in bright yonder above. There will be no more pain. Hold on to this best. You may be depressed, you've lost all your friends. I hereby bring you good news. When Jesus returns, oh, the dead will rise. He shall be the friend.